Hello, everyone. Welcome to my live event. I'm Dr. Perkins. It is November 11th, 2024. Happy Monday and happy Veterans Day. Veterans, we see you, we love you, we respect you. Thank you so much for your service and what you do. We truly do see you from a distance and know that you are truly appreciated. Thank you for protecting our company. All right, we're going to have some fun tonight. Another episode of Your Leadership Sucks. Discover the 5 dysfunctions sabotaging team success. It's going to be a combination of my experience of 31 years of leadership and my consulting experience of coaching executive leaders, coaching teams, coaching organizations. I'm going to mix that in with a model today that I'm going to expose you to that I have been using for about 2 decades as a school principal, as a director, and as a superintendent. And I will expose it in just a few seconds. But thank you so much. If at any time you have a question, put it in the comments, and then I will put it on the screen and I will answer it. I want you to take that journey with me and feel free to ask questions. At the end, I will give you a certificate for professional development, 1 hour. We're only going to be about 30 minutes tonight, but I will give you a 1 hour professional development certificate for your attendance. So let's move and groove. I'm going to blow the screen up or enlarge the screen. Here we go. Remember, some of this might be common sense to you. If it is, have that growth mindset and stretch yourself. What are 1 or 2 or 3 more things you can learn? Remember, common sense may not be common practice. And when I work with a lot of leaders, teams, organizations, businesses, schools, and so forth, one of my first reflective questions and asking them what they want within their organization is this common sense to you right now? And 9 out of 10 say, I'm going to be honest, this common sense thing, no, it's not. It's not common sense to me. Leadership is not common sense. So we shift back with some other reflective questions that I give them, and we make common sense out of that so they can move forward into making all of that into a common practice. So again, common sense is never always common practice until you make it common practice. All right, I'm going to enlarge the screen, get me off, and get the information on so you see more of the content. Boom, boom, boom. All right, I'm going to start with a story to really share some wisdom with you. There's this violinist, very popular, world-renowned violinist. And he, from time to time, has to purchase many violins because he travels the world and he needs a plethora of violins. So he purchased this one violin at a nominal price, put it as a secondary violin in case his primary violins fail or break down. Well, his fan base found out that secondary violin that he purchased is a multi-million-dollar violin. It's worth millions of dollars. And the violinist got lucky because when he purchased it at a cheap price, less expensive price. So his fan base through social media requested that he have this great concert with this multi-million-dollar violin. He agreed. He set up the venue and everything, held the concert. He played an hour and a half of beautiful, beautiful music. At the end, he got a standing ovation. During his ovation, he started slamming the violin on the ground, breaking it into many, many pieces. The crowd was shocked. He then walks to the side of the stage, pulls out a violin from a box, brings it back to the center of the stage and he lifts it up and says, "Folks, this is the multi-million-dollar violin. I wanted you to understand that no matter how much the violin costs, how much it's valued, it's the person playing the violin that makes the beautiful music." So did you catch that? So let's transition that over to leadership. It's the leader that makes the beautiful within the organization, with their teammates, with their inspiration, with their motivation, with their building capacity of their teammates, and so forth and so on. It's the leader that makes all the beautiful. That's the great thing about leadership. You get to do great things. You want to be helpful, not hurtful. You want to build people up, not beat them up. That's the power, the authority, the influence of leadership. So I wanted to share that with you. All right, let's dive into the 5 Dysfunctions of a Team by Pat Leoconi. This book has been out. His book is called The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. I'll show you the cover in just a few minutes. It's been out since 2002, so over 20 years. But remember, 2 plus 2 is still 4, and 2 plus 2 was created how many years ago? This is a great book. Get a chance, read it. Put it by the toilet. You're always going to be on the toilet throughout the week. Put it by the toilet. You can read 4 pages there, 10 pages there, and so forth and so on until you finish the book. We're going to talk about these 5 areas of dysfunction. And it starts from the bottom where the blue is, the absence of trust, and then it connects to the fear of conflict, connects then to the orange, the lack of commitment, then it connects, it's all interconnected, to the avoidance of accountability, and finally connects to the end result, the inattention to results. So these pieces all connect. If you don't have that absence of trust, the other 4 are moot. So let's break these down, and then I'm going to give you an instrument to measure, to use as a team assessment to measure where you're at in your organization, and I'm going to help you make the next move from there. So the first one is absence of trust. There's 2 types of trust. There's that trust where you look at your teammates and say, I trust them from the get-go. I know there's still a lot of building within our team and getting to know each other and building them up as far as giving them that experience so they can get us the results we need. But right out of the gates as a leader, I'm going to trust them. And then there's that second type of trust where you look at your teammates and go, I don't trust them. They're going to have to earn my respect and my trust. So did you get it? There's 2 types of trust: immediate trust and trust where you wait. Folks, I ask you right from the get-go as a leader to trust immediately. Why? Because you might be waiting 6 months before you feel you can trust your team. Now you wasted 6 months. Don't be that lady. Don't be that guy who's in leadership who waits. Things need to be done now. Attention to results need to happen now. So get in there, start trusting your teammates, even though you still have a lot of building to do. Trust from the get-go. Be vulnerable. Vulnerable doesn't mean weakness. Vulnerability means courage. I don't know where it got off years ago that, oh, you're vulnerable. That means you're weak and you're soft. And no, vulnerability means courage. Tell your story as a leader. Have your teammates tell their story. Get to know each other. That's another way of building that trust. Now you know your teammates' strengths, and then you can help them with their weaknesses. Also, trust centers around, I got your back. We're a team here. I got your back. If you're out sick, I got your back. If you need some help, I got your back. If I need some help, I can go to you. You got my back. Everyone's got everyone's back. There's no cutthroat. There's no us versus them. I wish people would stop all of that us versus them stuff and that cutthroat. Let your body of work speak. Let that be your measure. All this bad stuff at work where you got to be mean, tough, and no. Be calm and do your work. People will see you're a rock star. They will see you shining. Trust me on that. I've been around for a long time. That's why I'm giving you this advice. Share, share, and share. If you got something that's golden, share. Remember, we have an end result to get to. Share. I see people at work who want to hold on to the goodies. They got the golden egg. Share. Everyone's a winner. Everyone eats. We're a team. We're moving together. Mutual trust. Your body of work will shine and you will get the raises, the promotions, and so forth. You don't have to be, again, cutthroat in that us versus them mentality. Stop that, please. And then collaboration. Collaboration. How many times have you had a boss that you found out something after the fact? They made the decision. It would have been better if it came from the entire team. Yeah, there's 1% of the times that the leader doesn't need to make those immediate decisions overnight and the team's not around. But 99.9% of the time, the leader should be bringing in the team, going over that sense of urgency piece, and then gathering facts, data, evidence to say this is what we need as a team to move forward with. Now you got buy-in, you got that ownership. People feel a part of the process. They feel valued. These things I just discussed will build that trust. That all sets the tone for the fear of conflict. Folks, please face your conflicts, conquer your conflicts, embrace conflict because it's always a part of that equation. It's always and forever going to be part of leadership. You're never going to have all this smooth leadership. Maybe you have a day or two, but during that week, something's going to pop up where you got some type of conflict. Be it sales, be it the shipment didn't get there, be it there's an issue with two teammates being out because they're sick. Some conflict is going to arise, and you want to be calm in crisis and be collect. You're smart enough. You can do this. You can do it while things are going great. So why not do it while things are going not so great? Always be that in control, that calm leader. Also engage in unfiltered, passionate debates of ideas, opinions, facts, and evidence. Have that back and forth, but professional back and forth. It's okay to have that professional back and forth. You want input. You want a little professional resistance because they may have a better mousetrap than you. And that's okay. This is what this is all about. We're a team. Ideas come from everybody. You don't have to be the winner all the time with the best idea. Someone may come to you and say, let me play devil's advocate professionally and throw this at you. This might happen. That's why we shouldn't go down this street. So be open to your teammates giving you input, feedback, having that professional debate of ideas, again, opinions, facts, and evidence. Embrace that healthy conflict, basically what I just said. Now, nip any bad conflict, any bad. You don't want teammates really being disrespectful to each other and you. So nip that. And I put the words CAVE. It's an acronym, CAVE, and that means colleagues against virtually everything. CAVE. Did you catch that? The acronym CAVE, colleagues against virtually everything. If you have those people on your team, time to get rid of them. Man up, woman up, coach them out, write them up, improvement plan them out. They are going to destroy your organization with rumors, with bickering, etc., etc. Have that courage to get them out. I know you can't help it. Sometimes when you interview, they're all gung-ho and professional, and then something turns as they become employed and they become a bad employee. Get them out. That's a conflict. So you want to face that conflict. You want to conquer that conflict. All of this helps you out with conflict, and it sets the tone for the third level of this function called the lack of commitment. Lack of commitment. Ask. As a leader, are you interested or committed? Interested means kind of, sort of, yeah, maybe one day I get to it. Committed means it's going down, it's going to happen. I'm putting due dates. We're going to get there through hell or high water. We're going to get there. This is going to happen. You want to be in committed mode as a leader when you make that decision and you're moving forward as a team. They're side by side. Remember, your teammates are side by side with you. They're never behind you. They're never followers. I dislike it when I read in all these textbooks, leadership textbooks. You should have followers, and everyone should be side by side. Everyone's a leader. Even though you're the primary leader, everyone's leading in some capacity. Lack of commitment, buy-in. Get that buy-in. I kind of gleaned on it a little earlier. Bring the team together, get that buy-in of why we need to move forward. Have those debates, those healthy debates, but we have to move forward. Here's a sense of urgency in your speech. Bring the facts, the evidence, the information. Okay, let's think about this together. How are we going to get there? We have a deadline. We're committed to this. Now, if you have some teammates that disagree, remind them our norm, establish your norms before the meeting and say, listen, sometimes we're going to disagree. So you have two people that disagree. If you don't get what you want, that's okay. Down the road, you will. But on this one, this initiative, disagree and then commit. Not disagree and kind of, sort of, yeah, but disagree and commit. So sometimes you're going to run into that. You, as a leader, may have upper leadership that you disagree with, but you have to disagree and commit. You may disagree with something they're asking you to do. And remember, ride the ebbs and flows in your initiative. Projects, task, to get to that result, you're going to have to ride those ebbs and flows. Nothing's going to run smooth. You're not going to be ascending all the time. There may be a crash. There may be something, an obstacle that comes your way, but stay with your commitment. This sets up for avoidance of accountability. It sets the tone for avoidance of accountability. Let's look at avoidance of accountability. Our fourth stage in our 5 dysfunctions of a team. As a leader, always provide support steps with accountability steps. Did you catch that? Support steps with accountability steps. You support them, you hold them accountable, and you step back and then you observe and coach. You don't need to micromanage. Support steps with accountability steps. Train them up, sit back, observe, and coach. An example, on a professional football team, there's 11 players out on the field. Offense 11 players, defense 11 players. Everyone's asked to do their 1/11th. That means every individual has accountability. You may be the rusher and you're trying to get to the opposing team's quarterback. You may be the cornerback and you're trying to stop that long pass. You may be a middle linebacker where someone comes across the middle and catches the ball, their receiver. You have to make that immediate tackle so they don't advance any further or farther than at the place they caught the ball. So everyone on the football team has that 1/11th responsibility. That means every individual is responsible for their part. They're accountable for their area. And I was talking about defense there in my examples. And airline crew, everyone thinks the pilot is the most important person. I would debate that. How about the lady or the guy who puts the fuel in the airplane? I think that's a very important person. How about the customer service element with your flight attendants? Bad customer service, you're not going to get a lot of people flying your airlines. How about the people who clean the plane, put the food onto the plane? How about the co-pilot? So there's a lot of people, mechanics. Everyone must play their part. Everyone has accountability to do their part for the whole, for the team. So it comes across as individual accountability, which equals team accountability. And then leadership. You have to be a leader that holds everyone accountable. That's your job. Again, don't micromanage where you're always over their shoulder, but make sure you're kind of taking temperature checks, or that dipping in that oil at the car. You have that dipstick. You're taking dipsticks or periodic dips into that oil to see where's my oil at. What's the level of my oil? So you have to have those periodic checks. Please, accountability is a big key from keeping your team from dysfunction. Now that sets the tone for your final stage, your 5th stage, your top stage, inattention to results. The whole goal behind leadership and working with your teammates, not followers, they don't want to be behind you, they shouldn't be behind you, is a result or results. If you're making widgets, you should be producing so many widgets at the end of the day, week, month, year. So getting back to your mission statement is why you exist right here, right now. What is your mission statement? It should be one sentence. It should focus on the right here, the right now. Tapping into your vision, what you aspire to be as an organization in 3, 6 months, 9 months, maybe 3 years, 6 years down the road. And that's through a strategic plan. That will help you stay top of mind on your results, your mission and vision. Your mission is here and now, why you exist. Your vision is a little bit in the future, not too far. You don't want it so far people lose sight of it. You must be clear about your mission, vision, your results with every single teammate, from the secretary to the custodian, to the grounds crew, to the bus drivers, to leadership, to your teammates. Everyone must be on the same page. This is a major failure with leadership. Only leaders know what our results should be, maybe a few other teammates. No, everyone should know. This should be blasted within the organization, up on walls and on computers and meetings from time to time, as you celebrate and you meet those benchmarks. Hey, our result is supposed to be here, but we're right here. Next month we should be here, and so forth and so on. Celebrating those small wins. Putting your ego, your me, it's not all about me aside, your career development and your recognition aside. Putting all that stuff aside. That's important. I would say your career development, but putting all that aside and focusing on the team, your individual role, that accountability piece, that 1/11th, and then your team. I'm accountable for this. My other teammates are accountable for that. Together, we're accountable for this result. So putting aside that ego, that power, that authority, that influence, and saying, I'm doing this for the team. My body of work will contribute. It will shine. And then always keep the end goal in mind, top of mind. Have it out front. What you have out front, you pay attention to. What's in the forefront of your mind, the forefront of your teammates' minds, you pay attention to. There should be celebrations at certain benchmarks. It should be in emails. There should be a lot of recognition, a lot of pats on the backs, a lot of thank yous. Great job, kudos, attaboys, attagirls. But pay attention to those results. It's going to make you an efficient team and an effective team if you really focus in on these 5 dysfunctions. Again, using these 5 dysfunctions as a preventative, not getting to those dysfunctions. If you happen to slip, now use it as an intervention to pull yourself out of that rabbit hole. So here it is again, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Leocone. Hopefully I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. And I love how he put it into this little pyramid. And again, these all are connective. So absence of trust connects to fear of conflict, which connects to lack of commitment, which connects to avoidance of accountability. It ends with inattention to results. You want to flip the script on all of these and make it attention to results. Accountability. We have commitment. There is no fear, and we have plenty of trust. So what is a starting point for you? First, you want to start with sitting down with your team and saying, okay, we just learned about these 5 possible, I'm going to call it possible dysfunctions of a team. We don't want to go down that street. Or maybe you're already going down one of those streets. Maybe there's a lack of trust. So let's pretend there's a lack of trust. Sit down with your team and be honest. Be that vulnerable leader, which means courageous. Be having that courage and say, we have a trust problem. Would you agree? We can do an anonymous survey. Taking an anonymous survey, again, 9 out of 10 of you think we have a trust problem. So let's be honest. We don't have to say names. So let's put stickies, those little large poster stickies on the walls, or maybe have whiteboards, blackboards, and start writing down. Let's brainstorm. What is our issue with trust? And you can just say it out loud. You don't have to, again, say names, but say it out loud and write everything down. Brainstorm, have a brainstorm session. And then say, okay, what's going to be our first 2 steps in solving this lack of trust? What can we do right out of the gates? Maybe it's a few more frequent meetings during the week. You don't want to meet yourself to death, but find that sweet spot when meeting. You don't want to have too few meetings. You don't want to have too many meetings, but maybe that sweet spot of so many meetings a week. Maybe it's 2, maybe it's 3, where the fixed trust is just communication. That's a big issue within organizations. It's communication. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's you need resources. Maybe it's you need an extra person on the team that will help. Maybe you're overloaded, but you have to talk it out and ask those reflective questions to pull from your teammates what is the concern. And then once you find out through all that brainstorming and you said, what are our first 2 steps? Pull something off that brainstorming list and plug it into those first 2 steps and do it. Our first step is to meet a little bit more. We're going to meet 3 times a week because we're having a lack of trust due to communication. And maybe more memos need to go out, or we need to figure out how to get the word to every single person. And we can streamline it so it's efficient and we're not meeting all the time. But we need to brainstorm. When you get minds together, your teammates are very smart along with you. You will come up with a solution. And again, you have a brainstorming session, you pull a couple items off, you plug it into a few, step 1 is this, step 2 is that, and you're on your way. The second point, you can complete a team assessment, which is on page 191 in the 5 Dysfunctions of a Team book. But I'm going to show it to you right here, right now in a few seconds. Third step, complete recommendations for overcoming. So the team assessment will tell you what area of the 5 dysfunctions you're struggling in. It will give you a score on each of those 5 dysfunctions. You pull your lowest score in that dysfunction, and then you put it into a recommendations sheet that I created it from the book. And then overall, you just start. You start with those reflective questions, that team assessment, recommendations for overcoming, and you put together a plan. And it may be a little ugly at first, that's okay. But you're starting, you got a purpose, you got momentum. Just start. And you're going to find yourself asking questions, getting better, finally putting your arms around that tree and conquering that dysfunction that you're struggling in. So let me give you some examples. I'm going to have to exit out here. I want to show you this. This is really cool. And it's an assessment here. So boom. Oops, let me add it to the stage. There we go. I'm going to enlarge this. All right, there you go. So this is from Patrick Leocone's book. And this is an updated one. I've been using an older assessment. That'll get you there, but this one's a little bit more thorough, I noticed. My old assessment had 15 questions. This one has about 38 questions. So you just have to go through this assessment. You can find this assessment online. It's online. Just type in the 5 dysfunctions in Patrick Leocone and put in team assessment, and it's online. This is where I got this one from. And you will take this online assessment. There's a second page. So as you can see on the left, it's going to ask you, I think, 38 questions. And you simply rate it 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 for each. So one of them, I can't read. It's too small. That's too bad. You would read across horizontally, and then you rate it 1 through 5. Always, usually, sometimes, rarely, never. So you put a 1 for never, a 5 for always, and in between. And then you add up the scores. There's a little division on your left that you have to do. And then I'm going to show you something. I'm going to go back to, where's it at? Boom. Let me show you the second page here. Boom. Okay, let's go back to the studio. And there's a second page where after you do the math on the first page, you go to the left side and it gives you a score, and you can see within that a legend where you're struggling. Are you struggling with trust, conflict, commitment, accountability, or results? And that's the cover of his book right there. It's a reddish book. It's a really good book. This is their, except this one doesn't say team assessment. It's just for this little thing here. The front of his book doesn't say team assessment, that little black piece there, but it is red. So I encourage you to take the assessment. It's really helpful. Take the assessment. Let's see, I have a comment here. I'm going to show this comment. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Everyone is a leader. That's my language. Love it. Everyone's a leader. I'm glad you appreciate that. Good to see you. Haven't talked to you in a while. Remember, I want to repeat what this gentleman is saying. You should never say you have followers, people behind you. Everyone's side by side with you, and everyone's a leader. You are the primary leader, but everyone else is leading in some capacity. Thank you for sharing that. That's so true. So let's get back to, trying to learn this thing here. Boom, 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 boom. We're almost done. We're down to the last few minutes. Let's see if I can get this right here. All right, I think I got it right this time. Boom. Nope, there we go. Let me enlarge it. All right, here we go. Oops. I'm going to exit out of that. So I'm going to close this out. Boom. There we go. All right, let me add this back to the stage. Boom. We're going to skip this here. Then lastly here, from that assessment, you're going to get some good data to work on. It's going to tell you what your company, your organization, your team is struggling in. So all you have to do now is just grab a sheet, and on the top of that sheet, put your dysfunction. So I put an example, absence of trust. Under that, list any positives you have. Maybe you have one positive. Typically, you won't have a lot because it's a problem area you're struggling with. So for absence of trust, if you have no positive, say, I want to learn how to have an environment, a culture of trust in my organization. That could be your positive. Perhaps you have more. List your negatives. You're always going to have negatives if you have a problem. And then list recommendations to overcome it. List recommendations to overcome it. How can we overcome it? Maybe it's a few more meetings, not a whole lot of meetings. Maybe it's the leader walking around more, checking in with people. Maybe it's providing more personnel, more resources. What is it? Trust me, your teammates will tell you. They will. And just filling that out. So you have your reflections that you do, you have your team assessment, and you have your recommendations to overcome. Putting all that together, you can make some great movement. Now, we're down to the final few minutes. What's one big thing? One big thing. Put it in the chat. One big thing that you learned today, or one big thing you're going to do right out of the gates. Right out of the gates. Was there one thing that's profound to you? I like what that gentleman said earlier. Everyone's a leader. Yes. Maybe as a leader, you didn't grasp that as a leader. You start acting that way tomorrow. Making sure everyone's a teammate. There's no followers behind you. Everyone's side by side. Everyone's a leader. What is that one big thing you're going to grab from here today? Just one thing. All right. Thank you so much for listening. I encourage you to play this back. You now qualify to take my Your Leadership Suck courses. So you can find those by scanning this. And there's 3 courses in there right now. I'm adding more as the months go on. I really want to help you sharpen your saw, as they say, which is fancy words for sharpen your skills, so you can continue to go out there and be a great leader. Thank you for listening. I'm down to my next event is not next Monday. I typically do these every week. I'm traveling next Monday, but it's in 2 weeks on November 25th. It's called Your Leadership Sucks, the brutal truth about 5 leadership styles that will help you dominate. Don't you want to dominate? Yes, you do. So that's in 2 weeks. Some of the things I talk about, 5 dominating leadership styles and their unique strengths, how each style impacts team dynamics and success. And finally, which leadership style fits you best and how to use it effectively. And again, I do this most Mondays. Next Monday is the exception since I'm traveling. I'll be in St. Louis on Monday doing some things. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. If you really appreciate this, drop me something in my comments. Share this recording. When I hang up today or with you, when I hang up, that shows you how old I am. When I close out today, I will put this on the sites as a recording. Share it with others. Rewatch it. Find new things to learn, to push forward with. As always, push yourselves to be better. Thank you so much for listening tonight. I will see you on the 25th. Be safe, everyone.